In this video, I'm going to talk about an important topic of the chemistry, ionic equation, how to write ionic equation. So in this video, I'm going to cover about these points. What is ionic equation? How to write net ionic equation? What are spectrated ions? And some question based on this lesson. So equation, it's a three types. Word equation, chemical equation, and ionic equation. Let's take example. Suppose if I want to make a salt, common salt, which is NaCl. Okay, so if I want to make a sodium chloride, I want to make a salt. So salt, how I can make? I can take in word equation we write the proper word sodium plus chlorine. I will get sodium chloride. Now, if the same equation I have to write in the chemical equation, what I will write? I will write sodium, which is a metal, plus chlorine, which is a molecules, Cl2, and it will form the sodium chloride, which is NaCl. Now we have to balance it. Since there's two chlorine, we'll just put two here and two here and done. Now same equation, if I have to write in ionic form, what I will write? I will write everything in the ions. So how this is going to form when you're going to form the salt as ions. So we have to take, how to form the salt. We have to take some base and we have to some take some alkali. For example, I can take a alkali NaOH, I can take NaCl, and I'll get NaCl plus water. So this one is giving Na plus and this one is giving Cl minus, and these together forming the salt, which is the ionic compound. So we are going to talk about how to represent this equation in a ionic form in a detail. So this is not ionic equation. We ionic equation is what? Ionic equation is equation where we write the equation in a simplified version where just show all the ions which are involved in the equation. And why we need to understand this equation? Because this will tell you accurately what are different ions present in the solution. So there are certain rules during writing the ionic equation. What are the rules? That we have to keep in mind all thing, even all ionic compound don't break into the ions. Okay, so what are the rule? Rule number first, whenever you see the insoluble salts or solid which are not going to split into the ions, as the name says insoluble. For example, classic example is silver chloride, which never break. It's always form precipitate and it will be state in solid state. Calcium carbonate again is a limestone, right? Is not soluble, so it will just stay like that. So how to represent ionic equation? We just write the full formula and write the S. Now covalent liquid, obviously they are not ionic form, so they are never going to break. For example, water. So we just write the state symbol liquid. The gas always write with the full form of the gas and write the G. So this is a common thing whenever we write about ionic equation, these things always keep in mind. So we should understand which is insoluble, even though it's ionic compound. Yes, this is ionic compound, but they are never going to give you the separate ions. Now let's take some example and understand this rule how to write the ionic equation. So the example is given to that. There is silver nitrate. So first one, as you can see here, written in the word equation, where we have written every ingredient in the terms of word. Silver nitrate, sodium chloride, and this is the product silver chloride and sodium nitrate. Now this is the chemical equation, which is the formula of silver nitrate, sodium chloride, and the product. Now how to represent this in ionic form? So the rule says there are certain steps. Okay, how to follow this? So step number one, you write the balance equation. Okay, so maybe you can write in your notebook. These steps are very important. We should never jump to the direct final equation. So step number one, that write the balance equation. So what is the balance equation? Just balance it everything. Yes, one silver, one silver here. Everything is balanced. Done. The step two, rewrite the equation in terms of ions of the substance if it is in aqueous state. So this is aqueous. Just break apart ions form. So this is your silver nitrate, NaCl, Na plus Cl minus, and now product side, since it is a solid, we will not break it, we'll just write like that. Sodium nitrate, we are going to break apart sodium ion and nitrate ion. Step number three, we are going to cancel out which are common to both sides. So here NO3 is this side, this side come cancel. Here you have sodium ion, this side also we just cancel. Now whatever remaining without the spectator ions, we just write it here. Now you'll ask me, what is spectator ions? Well, spectator ions are those ions which are same during the reaction and after the reaction. So there is no change. For example, this equation which just now we have repeated, if you look in this, what is happening inside of the solution? So basically, silver chloride is formed, right? Which is a precipitate. But sodium ion and nitrate ion, they are still in the aqueous solution. Nothing happened to that. Okay, so these ions are called spectator ions, which do not part in chemical reaction. You will still find them in the aqueous solution. Clear? So in the previous equation, as we can go back and check, these are the called spectator ions, the nitrate ion and sodium ion, because these are the same thing you will find even at the end of the reaction. Now let's see couple of example of the ionic equation, how to write it down. So this is the question given to you, that when zinc is added to copper sulfate solution, copper and zinc sulfate are formed. Write the ionic equation for this reaction. So as just now discussed with you, what is the rule number one? Write the balance equation. So you know zinc is a metal. So first we'll write balance equation with the state symbol. So zinc plus copper sulfate CuSO4. Since it is a solution and ionic compound, it will dissolve. It will be your solid state, and it will form what? It is written already the hint that it will give you copper, which is will be solid, and zinc sulfate ZnSO4, which will again in aqueous state. So what is the step number two? Rewrite the equation in terms of ions. So we will going to write about this whole equation again back to the in the terms of ions here. So here we will write Zn, which is in the solid state, plus Cu plus plus aqueous plus sulfate ion, which is in aqueous. And remember, you should always write this balance charge. I cannot write just SO4 minus 1 because the sulfate is minus 2. Then Cu plus ZnSO4, which is a plus plus, plus SO4 2 minus. And again, we need to write it here aqueous and aqueous. Now, now this is the step number 1 minute. 2. Now, what is the step number 3? Step number 3 suggests that, okay, 1 minute, just give me 1 minute. So, now step number 3 suggests that cancel the spectator ions. So, what are the spectator ions which are unchanged in the both side? So, here the spectator ions is the same. This is. So, these are going to cancel out. So, this is the step number 3 here done. Now, fourth step is the rewrite the net ionic equation. So, what is remaining after this? We need to just write it down. It means I will write Zn, which is in solid state, Cu plus plus aqueous, and it will give the Cu, which will be in solid, and plus it will give you zinc plus plus, which is in aqueous. So these are the ions you will see the product will form it, and this is called net ionic equation. I hope this is clear for you. Now let's say a couple of more example. So next question is asked that what will happen when sodium chloride reacting with the sulfuric acid form, and it will form aqueous sodium sulfate. So they'll always give you products. So we don't even need to worry what will be the products. So just write it down. Sodium carbonate, what is the formula? Step number 1 is the write the ionic equation. Write the balance equation. So Na2CO3 plus sulfuric acid H2SO4. Then it will form aqueous sodium sulfate, which is Na2SO4 plus CO2 and water. Whenever you start, always make sure that you have written the state symbol and its balance equation. So, since this is aqueous and it can dissolve aqueous, this is aqueous, this is also can dissolve an aqueous, this is a gas, and this will be liquid. Now I need to check, is it balance equation? So thus Na2, yes, sulfate, sulfate, CO2, you have CO3 here, and then yes, it is a balance equation. So I check the step first. Now we need to Write the second step, that you have to break every aqueous ionic form in the ions. So Na2 means it's a 2Na, so I need to write it here 2Na plus CO3 2 minus. Now why I'm writing 2Na plus? Because you know sodium can form Na plus, and to balance the carbonate I need to put 2Na plus. So overall you always make sure that when I combine it will give you Na2CO3 and it will be neutral. So 2 plus I have here, I have 2 minus, so basically it is neutral, so it's correct. Same way I'm going to break this also H2SO4, it will become 2H plus sulfate 2 minus. So overall what you will get H2SO4 from this. Now here it will be Na plus sulfate 2 minus plus CO2 and water will be just remain like that. Always write the state symbol so you don't have confusion what will be state like that. So this is your aqueous. So now you cancel out which is common to both side. So as you can see here sulfate is common, it's gone. Na2 plus here, 2Na plus is here, it's gone. Now what is common here? As you can see here, now remaining thing we have to keep just like that. So the third step is to remove the spectral ions which already we are removed here. And now we are going to write the final Ionic equation which will be your CO3 2 minus plus 2H plus. It will give you CO2 and plus water. Write the state symbol liquid, gas, aqueous, and this is also aqueous. So this is our net ionic equation. As the name suggests, whenever we said net, what is the net? Like after gaining, after losing, whatever remaining, you have to put the equation like that. So this is the net ionic equation. Now let's solve another question. So I've given you another problem. You can pause the video and try to solve it. So question is that the solution of dilute hydrochloric acid react with the aqueous sodium hydroxide to form the sodium chloride and water. Write ionic equation. So you should pause the video for a while and first write the balance equation. Then you break into the ions, remove the spectator ions and figure out what is the net remaining ions. So pause the video and then solve it. I hope you got the point. So if you got this step 1, write the balance equation. Step 2, write the ions forms, and then you should get 100% sure you will get this equation only and only. So here what are the spectral ion, chloride ion and Na plus, because these are the same to the both side, and you will find this as a product remaining at the end of reaction as well in the solution. So there are some of the homework. You can write this and write in the comment. I'm going to help you and write the answer over there. Thank you for watching, and you can circulate with your friends so they will also get benefit from this video.